Wow, folks, how you doing? Welcome back to another Ask Us Anything call with LifterLMS Live. A couple of things we're going to open up with. One is a banner I'm going to throw down here at the bottom. I just want to get you going right from the start today. If you want to try anything that we're talking about today, if you're interested in hosting your own courses or managing students or having a membership website that might turn into courses down the road, I encourage you, go to lifterlms.com/try. lifterlms.com/try. That'll give you an opportunity to use a 30-day hosted example of a website that you run. You can add plugins to it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's yours for 30 days. We host it. It's fully populated and it has all the add-ons in it. So a lot of the questions like, what would it look like if, or how would I do blah, it's in there and it's populated. It has sample students, sample courses, sample quizzes, sample this, sample that. And it's the best way to get experience in seeing what you could do with a LifterLMS website. Now, that all said, you might have some questions today. So jump into the chat, put your questions in the chat. And if you're here today, like a couple of our regulars, we've already got Delphine and Gary here. Welcome to the call, Delphine and Gary. They're both from Canada. Delphine, good morning. And Gary Alderson, good morning from Winnipeg, the smoke capital. I didn't know that was a thing. Is that it? Is that comedy? Is that tongue in cheek, Gary, or is that like a real thing?
The forests are on fire.
What's on fire?
I'm pretty sure there's like bad forest fires or something.
Oh, well, that does suck. That does suck. When I lived in California, there was always a fear of fire, always. And I lived in the suburb, and we thought, well, it's never going to be a thing here. We're in the suburb. Oh, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to get to us. And all of a sudden, 2 blocks away, right by the firehouse, this thing had like come down the mountain, like right up to the firehouse. And I was like, holy crud, we really could catch on fire. But we what do you call that? Abated. We didn't have the issue. Gary does confirm that it is the forest fires. So folks, before we jump into live questions and stuff, and let's just be real, there aren't any questions here yet, so we might have a crazy show today. You can get 55% off at lifterlms.com /AMA-gift, lifterlms.com /AMA-gift. Ask me anything -gift. So that is there. That gets you going and gets things. What are you drinking?
Mango
Alfonso mango juice. That's like high dollar stuff, isn't it? You're gonna go broke trying to be healthy.
I don't know. It isn't. It was
I don't know.
$5-7 for this.
$7. That's big money for a small thing of juice. That's big money.
I'm a developer now. You know, I'm taking my $7 juice. I'm popping fish oil capsules. I'm prepping to live for another like 100 years.
Prepping to live for like another 100 years. My wife got a bottle of that tart cherry juice. It's supposed to do something for ladies. I don't know what that is. She got that. That was like $7 for that bottle of juice. I was like, you better enjoy that juice. You better put some vodka in it or something. Make it enjoyable. Let's see. We got Delphine. Boom. The fires are awful in Manitoba. We are a little luckier in Merritt, but not in British Columbia. Manitoba. You have to say it right. Manitoba. And here we go. Delphine has a question. Can you please explain the process between payment to PayPal and Lifter? I suppose we could. It's kind of similar to the difference, like the difference between PayPal with Stripe and Lifter. I have a way that I explain it, but you might need to give us some more detail if you have a specific question, Delphine. LifterLMS is your product, your course or your membership is the product. And then you know how you can go to, well, I shouldn't say how you can go to, because I don't know if you can anymore. Remember, there used to be stores called department stores like Sears and JCPenney and B. Altman's and places like that. And you could walk the whole store. So you could go to the tool department, the appliance department, the clothing department, the makeup department, the kitchenwares department, and you could pick things up. And those would be considered the products. So you would pick up the products, and then you would stop at a cash register on your way out one of the doors. So you could go to any of those departments and you could exit through any one of the cash registers. So the way that I kind of think about, PayPal or Stripe is I think to myself, whatever the product is, whether I'm buying a course or a membership or doing something like with easy digital downloads or something like that, that's the product. So my customer can pick up the product, but they need to have a cash register to be able to run that through, right? To be able to get that out. And so a lot of people think that there's more of a correlation between this than there really is. But in my mind, like, to me, they're very separate. So I need a cash transaction at that cash register, but I also need that cash transaction if it's a product to actually affect inventory or to allow access to that product. And so that's what that does. So when you cash out with an access plan in PayPal or an access plan in Stripe, that activates the product and gives people access to what they purchased, to the product. So hopefully that's the way that we have here. But let's see what you've got in for a question. It says the person registers for Lifter for the course, then pays for the course, then needs to return to the course in order to register for the exam. Oh, Delphine, you are going down a convoluted question. This is one that came up last week with Gary. You gotta tell the rest of the listeners and viewers what you got going on, because you guys don't use LifterLMS for the exam or for the certificate. So you're taking things like you have a product, but now you have third-party magic that's happening somewhere else and not with Lifter. So you have 3 separate plans, one which is exam only. The exam takes place in India. Yeah, so you're not using the native Lifter payment gateway to do that. You're using, help me, are you using WooCommerce, is it? I think it was WooCommerce. So you've got a WooCommerce product. You're selling that WooCommerce product, and then you have some kind of automation that gives them access to a third-party exam that happens in India. And then when they pass that test, hopefully there's an automation that says they passed that test and it issues some kind of a certificate. But in that situation, realistically, you don't have to go through Lifter at all. It says not a requirement. That is a requirement of the government. Okay, it's great that it's a requirement of the government, but it's not a Lifter. It's not a LifterLMS thing. So when you say explain the process between payments at PayPal and Lifter, that's a confusing question because the product is not a LifterLMS product. It is a third-party quiz or exam that you're leveraging from somewhere else. And then comes the confusion. No, we use the Lifter, and we have to go through Lifter for course registration. For the course, what you guys are going to have to do, Gary, Delphine, I know that you don't like this answer. You're going to have to get with somebody. Get with someone that's a registered expert, a one-to-one screen share, and get some time with somebody and work through your setup. The course, so access to a course is an access plan. So that would be the access plan to a course. That is a LifterLMS product. So they would make a purchase in PayPal. They would get access to the course through the access plan. And Bob's your uncle. That's exactly the way LifterLMS is supposed to work. And then if they're going to take the course and then go to some other third-party platform for a quiz or a test, there needs to be some kind of automation for that. So when the customer finishes the course, that would be the trigger. That trigger would have to automate whatever that third-party thing is. And that's where me and Emily are both like lost.
Yeah, like you can add a link to your exam software. So you have people register through Lifter for the course. You can deliver them the course content and then have a link within your lesson to say, like, head to our third-party platform for the quiz and certificate. And then they're no longer on your WordPress website. They're back on that other exam platform, and then complete the exam. And you're totally outside of the bounds of Lifter at this point. So how to get them redirected back into Lifter when they pass the quiz or get their certificate is something you'll have to figure out with that third-party exam service. But within Lifter, you can make it so that the only people who get the link to take the exam are the people who have registered for the course. The problem is that, like, you can share a link. So if someone takes your course, copies the link inside the lesson, and just sends it to someone else, like a friend, the link would theoretically work for the friend. So there's not a way to, like, guarantee that the person who's taking the quiz is definitely somebody who did pay you for the course. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear you from the other room there for a second. And I forgot the dang cup. I left it in the kitchen. That to me is like the thing. Like, the link is a very simple, workable idea, but it's not secure. And so then I'm like, the reason I said automation is like, automates to what? Like an API call? Like, it's got to be connected to something that's like, this account connects to this, that connects to that. Like, it's all third-party stuff that has to be like daisy chained together to find success. And I know that sometimes we say things quickly and it seems like, oh, well, that should be easy then. But my guess is this is a little more involved based on previous conversations on this call.
Yeah, it says redirecting from PayPal is the problem. It says that here. So Delphine says other exam platform is not the problem. Redirecting from PayPal is the problem. The student goes to a specific section of the course in order to register for the exam. Is the payment for the exam collected in the middle of the course?
She was saying they have a version where they don't take the course, they just take the exam to get certified.
Okay. Because, yeah, usually with, like, Lifter, you'd pay for a course and then jump into the course content. Sounds like redirecting from PayPal. They go to a specific section of the course in order to register for the exam. Is the registration for the exam... Well, so you're asking them to pay at the end of the course for an exam? Is that sounds like what might be going on? Gary says end of course. So I'm assuming you have, like, maybe a payment at the start of the course, or it's free. At the end of the course, you're asking for a second payment to take the exam. Is that what's going on? Or the first payment is the exam? Either way. I was thinking, if that is the case, where it's either free or paid at the beginning, you learn the content, and then at the end, it's paid to take the quiz or the exam, then, I mean, that's interesting. I don't have to confirm if that's the setup. No, they register for the course with exam only, pay for the course, and PayPal returns to the specific section of the course. We register for course at end, paid at beginning via Lifter, right? I think like what Kurt's saying, what you have to, like, lay this out with an expert one-on-one might have to be what you do. They register for course with exam only, pay for the course, and then PayPal returns to the specific section of the course. I mean, PayPal doesn't redirect you to a specific lesson within a course. It doesn't have that ability.
No, this would have to be process mapped out.
Yeah. No, like, if they register for exam only, I guess are you saying that if I mean, we're kind of going around in circles. If they register for exam only, you want to take them to a specific section of the course. Maybe they're using, like, the checkout redirect feature. I don't know. Not sure. This is definitely something I think you'd have to lay out with an expert, because they register for the course with exam only. Yeah, I don't. I'm only getting more lost. I'm sure they're on their keyboards like, oh, this is so simple. This is what we have set up. But I'm like, I am, like, kind of lost about what exactly isn't working. like Lifter does have a checkout redirect feature on the access plan where you can redirect people to any URL, including a specific lesson. But I don't know. Pondermatic. That name sounds really familiar.
Pondermatic? I don't know. Let me think about it.
Is that James?
That was a pun. You didn't even laugh. Pondermatic. I don't know. Let me think about it.
I don't.
Oh. Okay. What about something like Zapier? Can that respond to LifterLMS? Yeah, Zapier can respond to LifterLMS triggers. Absolutely. Here's what I have found recently, Mr. Pondermatic, is I've looked at some other automation tools, and they seem to have more or a more varied selection of triggers for LifterLMS. So Zapier works for a lot of your general basic stuff, but then maybe you need like an Automator WP or a what's the other one? Bit Apps is one. WP Fusion. They have a wider list of triggers sometimes where you can get a little more granular. But I find that automation software, automation software in general frustrates me as an agency owner, because I'll find one that I love and then invariably sign up a client that needs something goofy and weird that I've never done before. And the automation software that I love doesn't do it. And then sure enough, something else does. So I find myself having certain projects that are Automator WP, certain projects that are WP Fusion, certain projects that are Zapier. Zapier, for some reason, I know a lot of people love it. Personally, it just hasn't been my favorite.
But Pondermatic is James Richard, previous developer at LifterLMS. I remember the name from GitHub. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds too familiar.
Sounds too familiar. We have a new question. We have one from Manuel. Manuel is back with us. Manuel Saldana. I can't remember where he's from. Was it El Salvador? Where was he from? You're going to tell me where you're from, Manuel. I have 3 courses inside one main subscription plan. I'm trying to put the course outline widget at the sidebar, but the problem is I have to use 3 widgets to have all the structure of the full course at the sidebar. Is there a way to have a full drop down that includes all the courses? So you want to have a course outline consolidated with 3 courses in one outline. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Brazil is a nice place. Brazil. Okay, I understand. I say it's a nice place, and then other people are going to jump on and say, oh my God, no, it's just so dangerous. A friend of mine was the training manager for Ducati in Brazil. And an interesting thing, back in the day, this was 2016, Ducati dealerships wouldn't even put a Ducati sign on their building because people would like drive through the wall to try and steal the motorcycles. It was like a crazy thing at the time. But Brazil itself, I mean, thinking about the geography and some of the culture, man, it's such a beautiful place. I get caught up in cultures and travel. I just love it. What are your thoughts here? Actually, is one big course that I have split into 3 smaller courses. All right, it's still 3 courses, Manuel. There's not a way to do that. You can't. Can you stack? Could you build a widget and stack 3 outlines inside of it, Emily? I think you probably could if you were in full site editing, because it's just like building in blocks. I would say this outline, this outline, this outline, and they would, right, in full site editing like SkyPilot. But if I was in Gutenberg using sidebar and widgets, that's not going to happen. Am I being crazy?
I haven't tried that before. Let me think about this, and we could try it on a demo site too. But in Lifter, you have short codes, and one of those short codes is the course outline short code. I'm wondering, can you specify? You can specify the course ID, so we can give it a try. Let me jump
Yeah,
into
because I think it's driven by short code, the course outline with the course ID. And so if it was in full site editing, as a block that you're building, you would put those 3 short codes in, bip, bip, bip. And I think that they would almost conjoin. I think. Never done
Yeah,
it before. No one's ever asked. But I think in full site editing, that would work. But if you were in like Astra or Cadence or what was our other one? I can't remember. Launchpad. If you're on Launchpad, then I think you'd be driven to widgets, and I don't think it would work for a widget.
let's try it. The widget editor for full site editing themes is a little bit simpler. If we go to the widget editor, and then I can bring over my documentation about shortcodes. We're looking at this short code, putting it in a lesson and course block short code, and then this doesn't really matter. Course ID. Let's do quick start course saving strategy and college planning. So that would be 4406. Then our next one, 3367. Let's just try it with those two and see what happens. So now all of the courses on my website will have these 2 syllabuses at the bottom. So if I look at even college planning, oh, I don't think I have my sidebar set up.
Gotta set up the sidebar.
You do. LifterLMS. Global
Sidebar.
Course and lesson layout. Maybe it's this. Okay. So we have.
I think it worked.
Did it work? I'm confused because these are also copies of themselves. So let's put in saving strategy and quick start course. If we just rename a lesson to say like quick start course, welcome. Also, that's awesome that we have James in the chat. Haven't heard from James in a super long time. No, this is quick start course. I did that one in saving strategy, so this one will be saving strategy. This is a demo set. I can mess it up.
We can mess up all kinds of things.
We can, yes. There it goes, saving changes. Let's jump to my college planning and reload. So do we have quick start course welcome and then saving strategy welcome? Yeah, you're right. It did work.
Sometimes all someone has to do is ask a question.
Yeah. So, but it's a little interesting because so it would work to stack 3 course syllabus on top of each other for all the courses, but it would pertain to all the courses in your website. What I just did there, so if you only have 3 courses in your entire website in your membership package, it would work. But, what if you had a second package of another 3 courses? How would you make that happen? That's not going to work.
Yeah, I think in his particular use case, it can kind of make sense.
Yeah. But then, like you said with SkyPilot, if you were using SkyPilot full site editing, you could apply a template to your 3 courses. They would have one template that includes those 3 specific syllabus, and then a second template for your second package that would include those syllabus.
There you go, thinking outside that box again.
Outside the box.
That's good stuff. I don't need no dang box. I love the outline. For those that don't know, the outline that Manuel is asking about, you have a choice. You could put the syllabus on your course page or the outline on your page. Well, you could put nothing on your page, I guess, but what would be the sense of that? On people that have long courses, like I'm building one right now that has 46 lessons in it with 10 sections. So I'll use the course outline on the course page instead of the course syllabus on the course page, because the outline can be expanded and contracted and it doesn't make the user scroll as much. So I really like the outline feature. Bada boom, Pondermatic. Now we did get, thanks, Rio is not that dangerous. Only some parts of the city I wouldn't recommend to go to. Well, if we plan some kind of a LifterLMS event down there, we'll get in touch with you, Manuel Saldana, and we'll see if we can make that happen. I just love it down there. I love so many places down in like South America. It's like I gotta get down there. I gotta hop on a motorcycle and just tour things. I hear that's the craziest, riskiest thing is like people like me will show up and be like, oh yeah, I want to rent this BMW. Like in Ecuador, for example. And I know that Manuel's like, Ecuador has nothing to do with me. I'm in Brazil. But in Ecuador, if you could buy a BMW motorcycle, but the taxes to register it is like $20,000. And so the chances that I'm going to ride that motorcycle for any length of time before someone knocks me off of it and takes it from me, pretty slim. But it's cool stuff. He's using Astra. I like you more and more. Mr. Saldana. I am an Astra Pro user myself. I use Astra Pro. I use a lot of the tools from Brainforce. They're the people that do that. And when you use Astra, for those, because this is a replay and other people see this all the time, there's an AI tool called ZipWP connected to Astra with their starter template setup. And if you've never had a chance to use that it's pretty cool. It gets you to a first draft of a website pretty dang quickly. And then it allows you to focus on the details rather than the structure. So I'm not adverse to using that as a tool at all. That's one of my favorite things. Delphine says, my nephew went to Peru. Another friend has visited Brazil many times and truly enjoyed. Yeah, awesome place. Vicky jumps on. Vicky says, I love ZipWP. I've introduced it to a ton of people. They should be sending me a check. I do this a lot. I find a product and I start talking about it and I never sign up for the affiliates or bonuses, nothing. And I probably should. ZipWP is one of the ones. Cadence WP also has an AI site starter, and it works really well, almost the same as ZipWP, but the Cadence version actually gives you the ability to start injecting some SEO and keyword type activity into the initial first draft, which is a step that's skipped by the ZipWP. So if you're into any of those things, check that out. ZipWP, because it's affiliated with Astra, I just usually use it, put in Astra, go to the starter thing, do the AI deal, get the first draft done, load in LifterLMS, and start giving my clients access so they can start putting their course material in. That's kind of like our workflow, our process to get things moving quickly. I find that with the products I work on, the more quickly I can get the user like in the site and putting their content in, the happier they are. And so I'll do that usually very quickly to get things moving. But I understand that ZipWP is independent. So you can go to ZipWP, sign in with your account, and you can see all of your websites, or you can build a website in there, like as a template. You can build it there, and then you can export it or import it or whatever you want to say to another build, another fresh build. So there's all kinds of cool tools that you can do with ZipWP. Don't use Astra. That's all right. I'll forgive you, Vicky. I'm curious, Vicky. So you can build a site with AI and Divi too. I was going to say, I'm curious. Are you a Divi user? And there you go. Okay. All right. Manuel says, where is all my stuff going? I'm all over the place. All right, Manuel's back. I would love to take you for a nice tour down here. We've created a public school for photography and animation. Oh, that's cool. You should and I'm not shining you on. We are always on the lookout for case study sites that we can share on the LifterLMS website. And so if you would send a link on that, Manuel, to help at is it help at lifterlms.com or team at lifterlms.com, Emily?
I think they go to almost the same mailbox, but I assume help is probably processing a lot of that now. Either way.
Yeah.
They can
Help at lifterlms.com, and the subject would just be, case study submission, and then put the link to that site in. That would be really, really cool. And then chances are, if you built or you manage that website, you might hear from someone about possibly jumping on an episode of LMS Cast, because we like to profile success stories and give people a voice.
And there's also, last time I checked, there was a Gravity form I had set up years ago where you can just submit a screenshot of your website and the URL or something, and it will automatically jump over there. But send an email or find that form for the showcase. That's what it was called.
Pondermatic. I hear Ducati dealerships have a drive-through. That's funny. I was with Ducati for a long time. I was a contractor for them, and then I was a full-time employee for them. I used to manage all of their training for both sales and service. It was a really fun job. That was a cool job. They sent me all over the world, Spain, France, Italy, multiple times. I love Italy. I could live in Italy. I keep threatening my wife that we might live in Italy someday. Garrison, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. I know you put this up a few minutes ago, but let's get to it. Garrison says, I currently have 2 payment processing accounts that are live on our back end with WooCommerce. We want to turn off one of them. And so my question is, will the other payment processor jump in and process all future payment requests? I believe that answer is no. I think that answer is no. So if you're on PayPal and Stripe and you turn off PayPal, but customers had selected to do recurring billing through PayPal, they're not going to continue on recurring billing, right? They would have to resubmit through the Stripe process. Isn't that correct, Emily?
Yeah, like if they have an active subscription on your website, they would need to like update their payment method and enter their credit card details for Stripe.
Yeah, and the system would give them notification for that. It would say like update your payment method, and then they go to their dashboard, and there should be an element there, update your payment method in the dashboard and go from there. With the My Account page from WooCommerce, those menus are just like Lifter, but Lifter's integrated into that page. And so all of that should happen. You have to wonder, this is a tough conversation because this takes us down a marketing path, Emily. This is not necessarily a technical path, but a marketing path. Anytime you add a layer of friction to a transaction, you run the risk of customer churn, right? Or people timing out, not doing it. And so we have to ask ourselves, like, how many people are actually just letting that charge go through every month because they keep forgetting to turn it off? But then if you say you have to update your payment method, sometimes that piece of friction alone could be enough for someone to say, you know what, I meant to cancel this anyway, and then just let it go. And so there's going to be a certain amount of churn whenever you change a process. And it's like the difference between, let's say that you had a successful Facebook group, and then you go, you know what, we're going to discontinue that Facebook group and we're going to use social learning instead. We're just going to migrate everybody to our own website. Hey, that's a great plan. That's an awesome plan. I like that plan. I think social learning is a really great tool. It's fun to play with. But when you try to get people to move from Facebook to something else, a great percentage of them never make it. They never transfer over. And I don't know what it is, but like they get really tribal about social media channels. So you won't find many people that say, oh, I'm on Instagram, following you on LinkedIn. And you won't find a lot of LinkedIn people jumping into Facebook. It's just kind of the nature of the beast, finding people where they're at and serving them. And when we create the necessity to move, we generally lose a fairly decent percentage of participants. And it's the same for social interaction, online digital social interaction, and payment gateways. When you change your payment gateway, you're going to lose some people. So then the real question comes down to, what is the harm in having the two payment gateways available for people? What's the harm in letting people choose the two payment gateways? In a lot of situations, what I determine with people is they might have created a favorable, exchange rate with, say, authorize.net. If you have a lot of transactions and you go to authorize.net and you say, oh, I need a better rate, they'll negotiate a rate with you. Whereas if you're like, hey, PayPal, I need you to do better for me, they're going to be like, yeah, it's 2.9% and 30 cents on every transaction. Have a nice day. And so I can see why some people would say we would make an extra 50 grand a year if we turned off PayPal and just stuck with authorize.net. But the growing pains is getting the people that were on PayPal to put their credit card into the authorize.net and update their payment details. I use a plugin, HTML forms. Oh, that's back to Gary. Got lost there. So here we go. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Garrison. Sounds like the backend will prompt them to enter a new payment method with the available. Yep, absolutely. I hear you on the churn. It's a 52-week class, and they're not going anywhere in our case, though you make a great point and very valid. Okay. Yeah, if they're prepaying for the class, that's great. If it's they pay every week or they pay every month, you still might have some people that go, I just don't want to finish it. Or because I find that course completion is there's two big obstacles in courses. Getting people to sign up, that's one big obstacle, right? Just getting customers, getting people to sign up, that's one obstacle. Like marketing and sales is still the driver of everything that succeeds. So no matter how good the product is, if you suck at sales, you suck at sales. So getting people to sign up is the thing. The next thing is course completion, because if you lack course completion, you also suffer for referrals. You get, people ask for money back. They ask for refunds. They, contest their credit card charges. It just goes on and on. Just goes on and on and on. So two things, getting people signed up and getting people to finish. That's why I'm a big proponent of integrating a CRM tool with a large scale learning project, because I'll use the CRM to send reminder messages or check-ins, or, taking people's temperature or sending them a survey link, on the 4th month of a 1-year program. I have a goal setting training thing that I do through one of my projects. I have a short course and I have a long course. The short course is like you can knock it out in a week or 10 days. Boom. It's self-paced, whatever. But the other one is a year. It's a year, like a daily activity and a this and a that. And I got to admit, it's overkill. And my course completion statistics on that are pretty horrible. It's not affixed to any state or governed requirement. So, when people get tired of it, they just stop. And so course completion is really hard. Garrison says, court ordered. And I'm hearing a lot about court ordered cases. I should get into this business. It says in our case, they're court ordered classes. Yep. Good money in that. Good for you. So they're not going anywhere. Just wanted to make sure it's easy for them to continue, even with the hiccup of having to. Yeah. If it's court ordered, you've got a captive audience. You could tell them they got to send you, dominoes in the mail, and they'd have to finish the class. You wouldn't lose them. Right. So, yeah, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do there, Garrison. That court mandated stuff, huge. That's a great market. I love that market. There's like ongoing certification. Well, Karen that comes to the office hours, right? She does the continuing education stuff. That's a strong market, like continuing education. People that like mortgage people need to be certified every year. Dentists need to be certified every year or 2 years, right? Dental hygienists, I think, is every 2 years. Sex ed training for like sexual harassment in businesses. In most states, that needs to be every 2 years. And so if you can get into those continuing education categories, and again, I drive back to sales, if you can sell in those continuing education categories, they tend to be super consistent and the margins are really good. So those are great spots to be. I don't know if my site is showcase worthy. Well, Vicky, you said you were in Divi. Divi's for artists. Go make it showcase worthy. That was
Garrison's also in Divi. So the Divi users are climbing in the space. But yeah, like I think your site looks great. I'm looking at it from the LinkedIn profile. I mean, even like low key, I'm not saying your site doesn't look great because I think it does. I've seen some sites, like I've been doing this client work for like better part of a decade now, and I'm like, I have seen some sites that are a mess, like a hot mess, especially ones in Divi. But your site's looking good, and it is like inspiring to other site builders to see sites like at any like demographic and different design level. Like it might not be like Melissa Love, who's like an expert graphic designer who is doing like crazy stuff on her website, but it's also like it's a functioning business website, and that's always really nice to see because it gives people an idea of like, oh, this is like where I'm trying to get to, like a community. Hot mess, pretty much a hot mess.
Personal story, and I'm not going to do a screen share because I don't think it's the right thing to do. I literally shared a site. Was that yesterday, Emily, that I shared that site with you?
Oh yeah, yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday was a site built with AI. I have competition in town that is selling AI built websites, and I thought something was wrong. Hey, Toyin's here. Toyin, welcome to the call.
Wait.
I think Toyin just had a birthday not too long ago. There was an announcement, and I sent him a message. Yeah, I miss Toyin. He's a fantastic human.
We have like a bunch of LifterLMS like team members in the chat. I'm gonna call my mother, who is like an old LifterLMS team member. Get her in the chat.
Get her in the chat. But it was so funny. Like the pages are misformatted, and there's things like black buttons on black backgrounds with dark purple print, and so you don't see them unless you hover over them, but you would never know they were there. And then on one background, it's like half white, half black. On another background, it's clear, so you still can't see the button. Frequently asked questions, you see like this much in frequently asked questions, and then this giant blank white space with nothing in it. And Emily goes, "Oh, that must be the moment of silence after the FAQs." and that has now become, I'm keeping that saying, Emily. That I love it because on their pricing page, they had like a white sidebar that was misformatted. The whole page was messed up. It was completely misformatted. And I'm like, oh, that must be the moment of silence after you see the pricing. And the pricing was weird because it was like 5 or 6 different things in different ways to price it. A 6-month commitment, a 12-month commitment, pay by the month, pay up front. It was lunacy, and it wasn't cheap, and the product was horrible. But I saw a list of names that they said were their founding customers, and I was like, it lived in my head rent free for 2 days. It really did. So much so that I hopped on my bicycle yesterday for my bike ride, and I went to one of the customers that was listed, and I said, "Hey, I saw your post yesterday. I was real curious about, are those friends of yours?" To try to ask some questions. And turned out they're not web clients. They didn't buy a website. They made their own website. And they said, once I saw their website and how bad it was, there was no way I'd want them to design a website for me. And I was like, okay, so that list of clients that's on their page is not really a list of clients. It's a list of from something else. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I at least feel better about that. Like, cause I was really, Emily will tell you, lately, my agency, I've been inundated with, hey, all you got to do is customize this doohickey over here and customize this doohickey over there. And this needs to be pixel perfect. And there's my Figma file. And I need my checkout to look just like this Figma page. And like totally granular customization requests that I'm getting. all over the place lately. Like just and people thinking that it's all easy too. Like, oh, well, all you got to do is just move this here, move that there, change that to chartreuse, and this needs to be gray, and this and it's crazy. And sometimes I vent to Emily a little bit about it, and then I see people advertising a viable product that is completely devoid of any sense of accessibility, design, or function. And I'm just amazed that people are like, oh, it's got AI and it's got to be smart. I'm going to get that. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. I guess it's still living in my head a little bit rent free, but I feel a little bit better now that someone that I know that knows them said, oh no, I'm on that list, but I'm not a customer for the website. I wouldn't buy a website from them because it's nasty. So now I feel better.
Yeah. Did you mention our pricing? That was my favorite part. They were like, it's $130 a month or $1,700 a year or $96 a month. Like, like when like, here's your monthly price, here's your yearly price, here's an alternate monthly price. It was like,
it was pretty crazy. And the page was completely misformatted and inaccessible. Like, I am not an accessibility. My last name is Von Onen, so I can say Nazi. I am not an accessibility Nazi. I'm not. Like, is it accessible? Yeah. Is there a description for the picture? Yeah. Is there? Okay. Can you see things? Emily will tell you, I designed a website 2 years ago for myself. I thought looked amazing. Emily goes, well, that's not accessible because the text is over a different shade of something in the background or whatever. And I was like, oh, for crying out loud. So I just went and redid the whole thing in bricks and made it accessible. So I'm not crazy about it. Like, it doesn't drive everything that I do. But when you go to a website that is point blank inaccessible, it's like getting hit in the head with a rock. It jumps off the page. You're like, holy crud, look at that. Like, not a single thought was given at all to any sense of accessibility. And I was like, wow, okay, now I see why people got sued, because this is a mess. I'm sorry, Emily, I told you it lives rent free in my head. I'm stuck in there.
No, but that inspires me a little bit, that website, because like the fact that they exist and that they've done some amount of business with that website is like, maybe like, I have a theory that we take things, I told you this, that we take things too seriously. We're too specific and too clear, especially for classes that are not court ordered or like have any government interference. You know what I mean? Like, the government stuff is like, you should be pretty straightforward and clear cut with it. But when it comes to like anything that's optional, maybe we could stand to be a little more silly,
a little more fun,
little more AI, just mixing things up, messing up the code a little bit, see what happens.
Yeah, I'm up for playing a little bit. I've been using more and more AI and doing some things. And are you still WP course guide with AI?
I am. I added with AI to like so many things on my website so that it like brings the buzzwords.
Yeah, I think it's important because you bring so much skill to the table, but we still, like, we use AI, but we know what the output's supposed to be. And so, you monitor it as you go. I'm just blown away. What it did tell me, what the pricing did tell me on that one example site, was that pricing as an agency needs to be monitored and adjusted accordingly at all times. Like, maybe I haven't been getting the rush on startup business in my locale because my prices were too aggressive. Like, if you can go buy some misformatted, horrible website from them for twice what I charge, I'm probably not charging enough. Right? If that makes sense. Like, because then people say, oh, there must not be a real service there, must not be real quality. Plus, I just got quoted $700 to change the cooling fan in my car. So that tells me right there, I'm definitely not charging enough money.
I got quoted $780 this morning to change my transmission fluid oil, fix an actuator on the door, give it a once over. Probably some other things. Oh, the O2 sensors are bad. You got a lot of things, but I mean, they're not going into the engine like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're in a weird space. Delphine says color accessibility is critical, especially when someone visually impaired has to change the display to more easily read the content. Delphine, that's going to be me any second now. I didn't need glasses until I was 50. I've always been partially colorblind. That freaks people out when they hear that I run an agency. I know it looks good. Like I can look at something and go, oh, that's good, that's bad. The shades are good, the shades are bad. And I know what blue is, and I know what red is, and I know what they are. But there's certain shades of colors that I really can't differentiate too well. Like if I'm going to paint an interior room in my house, I don't pick the color swath and then go, give me 2 gallons of this. What I do is I usually take a picture of the room I'm going to paint, and I take it to the girl behind the counter and I go, I was thinking a color like this. How would it look here? And then she's like, oh, yeah, you were wrong. You were definitely wrong. Don't do that. And so thank goodness I have that there. Plus my agency has people on staff that are not handicapped, and so that they can see the colors and tell me that things are good. So there's that. As I get older, my vision gets worse and worse. I don't even like to look at stuff on my cell phone. My wife is always trying to do stuff on the phone or ask for help doing something on the phone. And I'm like, put the phone down and turn on a laptop. You are killing me. I'm not doing anything on your phone. Garrison's got a real question here. I see in this site I inherited, at the checkout, I see pay with link, green bar. Pay with link in a green bar. 2 questions. What is this? 2, can I turn it off or hide it? And if yes, how? Garrison, I have no idea what the heck that is. I can't think of one that says check out and pay with a link in a green bar. There is pay with link. Pay with link is Stripe. So if you have Stripe activated and pay with link is selected in your Stripe account, you'll see that. Link, capital L, capital I, capital N, capital K, is a Stripe feature. So if you hate, but the green bar, I don't think I've seen the green bar. I think that's where I'm confused. I've seen pay with link, and the link is clickable. I haven't seen it with a green bar. Let me go look at my site real quick. And I'll do it as a guest and not log in as myself. And I'll go to buy something. What will I go to buy? Let's say I want to buy my 5-day course. I'm going to say enroll. Take me to a screen. Take me to a screen. Oh, I had that set up for members only pricing. Let's go to the membership list. That'll be easier. That's the problem when you make things. Let's go with this. Because I don't think my link says a green bar. Yeah, I got powered by Stripe, and then mine in the card number region is a black bar that says link in green colors. But now it says link all with lowercase. So it's lowercase L, lowercase I, lowercase N, lowercase K, link. And then it has, but this has like a saved card in it from the browser. So maybe that's why, because it says link, use this Visa with this number, right? And so maybe that's why it's black, and maybe that's why you see a green one. Maybe the green version is if you don't have a saved card in the browser. But that is a feature of Stripe. And so Garrison, if you want to send a screenshot, be patient with me, but you can send that screenshot to kurt@lifterlms.com, KURT@lifterlms.com. I'll take a look at it and I'll tell you if it's what I think it is from Stripe. Garrison says on the color point, yes, red and green colorblind. See, I'm not the only one in the web space that has issues. Pondermatic says, I love the sites that offer dark mode. Not me. I hate dark mode. I can't see half the stuff. Like when I first started using bricks, it was in dark mode, and I was completely lost trying to build stuff in bricks. And then I found the light mode feature, and I was like, hey, I can finally see where everything is. Yep. Delphine says it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. People should appreciate you for who you are. I agree, Delphine, but a lot of people don't appreciate me for who I am. You have to use dark mode in order to use contrast. Light mode hurts my eyes. Yeah, I don't. In dark mode, I can't see things. That's like, I don't see the contrast. I guess so. In dark mode, I don't see the contrast. I have a client, just perfect example. So they're in Cadence Pro. Cadence Pro has the ability to have a light mode and a dark mode on the same site. So those of you who are wondering, hey, how do I do that? Cadence Pro comes out of the box like that. You can have a light mode and a dark mode. And what it really is you're creating two color palettes, two global color palettes. And then it just cycles between those two color palettes. So I'm a kind of a fan of Cadence Pro because of features like that. And I have a client where I did the light and dark option for them, and it worked out pretty good. But I got to tell you, when I'm working on the dark mode for them, if they're like, oh, the heading on this page is hard to see or whatever, I'm like they used an H3 instead of an H2 or something, and the global color was wrong. That to me is just like, All right, we got 4 minutes left. Let me see if I can jump in here, Garrison. I'm going to try and see if it came through. For those of you that are watching this, especially if you're watching the replay and you're like, oh, I'm going to write that down. He gave his email out. Don't waste your time. I don't check this email account like every day, and I don't want you to get angry. Help at LifterLMS is the best way to find somebody. Okay, I've seen that before. That is through Stripe. Let me see if there's anything on here that looks. Hold on. I'm going to increase the size. I'm going to pull it down, and then I'm going to do a screen share. And you'll see what I'm talking about, Garrison. I just wanted to hide the names of your courses at the bottom. So let's go to share screen. Which one is it? Oh, for crying out loud. Chrome tab. Is it this one? Yep, it's this one. Okay, so this green bar right here is like the bar that's in my page, except that my page has a different theme. This is all dynamic. Like everything that's in your checkout page is dynamic, and it adopts certain cues from your theme. And so this is the Stripe. This is a Stripe feature. So instead of thinking of it as dead weight on your website that you should get angry about, it's actually, whoops. Let me turn that off then. I was trying to not put the names of your courses and all that junk on the screen. It's a feature of Stripe. So yeah, if you disabled Stripe, that would go away, but you don't want to disable Stripe. It's a way that people can pay. If they have a link, if they have their credit card saved in Stripe, they call it Link, and it's kind of like using Google Pay or Apple Pay, but they call it Link, and it goes through their thing. Yeah, you're right, Vicky. You're absolutely right. And can you give a short description of exporting and importing courses perhaps next time? Matthew, you got a knack for coming here late, son. I can give you a short description, and then maybe we put this down as a thing to talk about next week. If you go to courses in the dashboard, and are you still seeing me, Emily? Because I double clicked something and now my screen's acting weird.
Yeah, we can still see you.
Okay. If you go into your courses listing in your website, you're going to see, you see the builder, you see edit, you see view. One of the other things that you're going to see is export. So you can just click export, and it will export your course as a JSON file. So you export that. And then if you want to import it to another LifterLMS website, under LifterLMS in the admin menu, you'll see import. And so if you select import from the LifterLMS menu and select import at the top of that screen, put in your file, it will load that course up. We also have free courses available that you can download and repurpose for anything that you want on your website at LifterLMS. We got one on relationships. We got, obviously the getting started with LifterLMS course, and we've got a couple of other things. And so let me get that off of there. Okay. And so short description, that takes us to the top of the hour. We might be able to do a screen share on imports and exports next week. Folks, we started out slow, but y'all showed up. So that part's awesome. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Let's not forget that there is a 55% off coupon by going to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. And with that, I'm going to push the magic button and we will see you next week.